Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? Hashtag Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Saleh, and today I am solo in the studio, flying solo. But I have with me Uti Elu that has joined me via Zoom. Hi, Uti.
Good evening.
Good
Good to see
evening.
you.
Abio, even though I cannot see you, how are you doing? How was your day?
My dear. Today and this week is blessed. Let me just say that.
I tell you,
Let me
I,
just leave it at that. Yeah.
I tell you, I'm back in class this week, so it's been back to back classes up and
Oh,
down.
wow.
So I can imagine it's
Ah,
just been a lot of, reading and all of that, you know.
well done. You look
Well,
fabulous. So it's all looking good.
it doesn't look, I don't look like what I'm going through, Abby.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I tell people
It's
that there are
all
some
looking
things that are disturbing me, they can't relate. I say, God, which kind of wahala is this one now? It's a good wahala.
yeah.
Because I cannot tell anybody that Nigeria is Nigeria in me right now. I can't tell anybody that. They won't believe that. Uh,
That's the answer to a prayer point. I don't want to look like what I'm going through,
I don't
right?
want to look like what I'm
Yeah,
going through, right? Oh, I can imagine.
absolutely.
Children are back on holiday. How are you coping with this food crisis and the inflation?
Well, considering that I have a small eating machine that seems to just consume everything in sight and in reach,
Uh,
it's been interesting. We had three whole plantains, three. This person is a small human being, had three plantains fried with two eggs.
ah,
So yeah,
ah,
yeah. Mm.
that's really, that's
But
really
mothers,
something.
for the mothers that have boys, yeah, for the mummies of boys,
Hmm.
yeah, solidarity.
Ah,
Mm.
tell me about it. I've not cooked in a long time. I had to cook this morning. These days now, I cook very early in the morning so that I just bring food to work because David is home.
Mm.
We have to cut
Ah,
costs.
ah. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I can imagine three
Ah, yeah.
plantain, Uti, three. Hey, tell me to close my
Yes,
mouth.
considering that this person is not yet 10 years old. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, God of heaven, Father Lord,
Yeah.
the-
Yeah. Mm.
it is well. It
It
is
is well.
well.
It is up.
As well.
Mm.
So if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's at Official Upgrade TV. You can click the subscribe button right now. Just go there and click on the subscribe. And remember to share the link, right? Don't subscribe alone. Invite families and friends to join and subscribe. All right, so we're having a conversation around the reality of food costs in Nigeria. Remember, we started the conversation yesterday, the impact, how inflation is impacting Nigerians, right? So we are having a continuation, and this time around, we have someone that is coming, to have a conversation that is in the food business. And here's what we found as today's quote. It says, prolonged inflation never stimulates the economy. On the contrary, it unbalances, disrupts, and misdirects production and employment. This was from Henry Hazlitt, right? So, as I said earlier, we're still going to stick to the conversation around the biting food inflation in the country. And we'll be having our guests, as I'd mentioned. And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear your thoughts on this conversation. But first, let's run off on a break. When we come back from that break, we want to see what we found in today's news. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, African Deaf Awareness Day is an observance dedicated to raising awareness around the issues faced by deaf and hard of hearing communities across Africa. The day serves as a platform to highlight the challenges these communities face and to advocate for better accessibility, education, and inclusion. Deaf Awareness Day was established to raise awareness, promote inclusion, advocate for rights, and celebrate deaf culture activities for African deaf awareness. For Africans that are deaf, right? So, African Deaf Awareness Day can vary, but typically includes awareness campaign, educational workshop, community events, and media outreaches. All right, so Uti, Did you ever participate in sign language?
No, I see it. I don't know anyone personally that can sign language. I think what I just found interesting was when I found out that even in sign language there were different variations. So there's British Sign Language, there's American Sign Language, but very limited exposure to it. I
Mm.
think disabilities are something that a lot of people, if not confronted by it in terms of someone close to you, I think culturally we don't pay a lot of attention to disabilities. I think sometimes people even try to sort of avoid it. So culturally, it doesn't have as much visibility as it should have. I mean, I was having a meeting earlier today about, the Disability Act and readiness for that. Um, it's been 5 years since that act went live in 2019, and it doesn't seem like much has changed. I mean, we had a guest on a few weeks ago where we talked about this. So anything that raises more awareness for their well-being is absolutely, absolutely awesome. They still need to live rich and full lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I was a lot younger, I used to do the sign languages because in our neighborhood we had a lot of them. One of the big time farmers had adopted a lot of those guys. So, because of just by the virtue, the fact that they were close to us, we had to learn how to communicate with them. But hey, all of those things, I can't even remember them anymore. But I used to do the sign languages, and we could communicate with the young boys then. But hey,
Yeah.
it's as you said, it's very important to continue to shine the spotlight because people that are living with disabilities amongst us, they are still, also what's it called? They have the right to also live, and like you rightly mentioned, to the fullness, not live and not enjoy the life as it is. All right. So, what did you find for us in the news, Uti, today?
So my news, I try to keep a close eye on any sort of weather related, flooding related reports, just because we know the kind of impact that it can have um, on the country is something that we've been struggling with. So my headline is speaking to the federal government now predicting and warning 22 states of a 5-day massive flooding. So this actually kicked off from yesterday, which was the 16th, and is expected to last until the 20th, which is Saturday. And the idea is that they're expecting high levels of rainfall. So the article goes on to list all the different states: Adamawa, Abia, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, and within the states, it actually lists specific areas as well. So Bayelsa, Cross River, Nasarawa, and the FCT says other states as well include Jigawa, Kano, um, and Niger State. In Niger, there's quite a lot of cities, Taraba State, Sokoto State, rivers. So pretty much feels like it's almost the whole country, but essentially predicting high rainfall. There was also some talk. In fact, what caught my attention in the story was the question around the Lagdo Dam, which of course we may remember led to the flooding of I think it was Niger State and a couple of other places last year when the Cameroonian dam was water was let out of the dam, and of course that flowed into Nigeria. So he was being asked about that as well, and he did say that there were not. This was the Minister of State for the Environment, Dr. Isiaq Salako. He was also asked about that, whether the Cameroon government had notified the ministry of their intention to open the floodgates of the dam. He said he was not aware, but that that information would be passed to the Ministry of Water Resources and sanitations as they manage dams. So, of course, just paying close attention, we know how devastating the effects of those the dam, the opening of the floodgates of the dam last year was to quite a few parts of Nigeria. So I just thought to mention this so that we can also be prepared. I think one of the key things for managing flood is also the preparedness for it. And I don't think we do enough of that. We just sort of hope that the water will miss our houses by or locations or whatever it is. So in terms of just being able to prepare, clearing out, drainages, gutters, ensuring that rubbish is cleared out, all of those things that make for good preparation in those circumstances.
Absolutely. Well said, Uti. Well said. All right, so let me quickly take my story because, in fact, the story has become so interesting that we are going to have it as a conversation tomorrow. I think I reached out to David Hudain, so we'll be having him tomorrow evening to have this conversation because the headline, right, that the headline said that UAE had, I think, lifted the ban. Sorry, my network is networking. UAE has lifted the ban. The applicants are decrying the fact that they are asked to pay 640,000 naira for the UAE visa. So they said that UAE had hiked the price of the visas. Following the lifting of the visa ban on Nigeria, United Arab Emirates government had increased its visa fee by over 300%, which has been condemned by air travelers in the country. Expressing anger over the development, a traveler at the international wing of the Murtala Airport, Rose Akigbe, said that this is a clear indication that the UAE government doesn't want Nigeria in their domain. How much is the United Kingdom taking? Why is the amount so out of reach? I think that the Nigerian government needs to do more engagement with the government of the UAE. Please let them do something to this hike. Also, a father of three, Ade Jare Ade Bukola, who also claimed to have 2 children willing to study in the UAE, begged the government to act on the hike to save the children's dream. So this was the story, right? Then all of a sudden, a report then came out to say that there is a company. I don't know if they can put that out. That so this is from an X handle, parallel facts, that says UAE visa ban. That investigation reveals that Tinubu's government officially used dubious website to charge Nigerian travelers 680,000 through Flutterways for document verification service to Dubai. An investigation by renowned investigator David Udain. So immediately I saw his name, I said, okay, it is all right. We will have you tomorrow. And whilst that is happening, another flyer went round that says that UAE denies approving 10,000 because part of the condition was that you are supposed to have $10,000 in your bank balance, and while you also pay the 640K visa application fee. But they said UAE has denied it. So all of these things is just unfolding. I am looking forward to having that conversation tomorrow. And for the people that have maybe since they lifted the ban, the people that have applied, if it's possible for us to even, or maybe by tomorrow we'll even try to just apply for the visa and see what the, the criteria is. But hey, this is all developing, is all unfolding. I really don't know how 640,000. UAE is one of the destinations that a lot of people used to go to that didn't have the capacity to travel to the UK or the US. I mean, my mom did UAE for years. She did it for over, say, a period of 20 years, because that was her first international trip where she used to go buy goods and then come back to sell and all of that. She did that trip for years, even when there were the only airports that we had that was close to us in Kaduna was the Kano International Airport. So my mom would drive, we would drive all the way to Kano. She would board the flight, and when it's time to pick her, we'll drive all the way to Kano to go pick her and come back. Right? I mean, so UAE used to be destination for people that had very little capital, but they wanted to start a buying and selling business. So I don't know how this is going to impact 640,000 for visa and 10K balance. So, but they said they have denied it. So let's just we'll put our eyes on this story, and we're going to have the conversation tomorrow, especially because we're going to be even having the person that did the investigative reports. Let's see what's happening with the report. All right, so we'll take a break. Did you have anything to say?
It's not a visa. No, I was going to say that the 640,000 is not a visa fee, though. It's document verification. So the government can deny it because that's not the fee they're charging for the visa. But the fee was not for the visa. The fee was for document verification. I just wanted to point that out so that we're clear.
And now they are saying the document, the verification is now tied to the president's. It is where. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back from the break, let's discuss food. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people,
with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future,
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
what are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Thanks for staying with us. Nigeria is facing a severe economic challenge with inflation currently at a staggering 40%. And this dramatic rise means that prices of essential goods are skyrocketing, placing a heavy burden on Nigerian families. Business owners and the organized private sector are sounding the alarm, attributing parts of this economic strain to rampant insecurity nationwide. Nigeria is currently facing a dual challenge of economic hardship and food safety risk, and the situation demands urgent attention and action to stabilize both the market and the nation's future. As inflation continues to surge, many Nigerians struggle to afford basic food items, and the gap between wages and the cost of living is widening. So tonight we want to delve into the factors, right, that are driving this inflation crisis, and hear personal stories from those affected and explore potential solutions to alleviate the financial strain. And the conversation would be, tagged around the topic, the reality of food costs in Nigeria. And joining us to have this conversation is an agribusiness entrepreneur, educationist, and operation analyst to small businesses. And she's a new friend of the house. Okay. Anuoluwapo. I have a friend with this name. I just call her Anu, no vex.
Yeah.
Godfrey-Abu, that's her name. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The name is a tongue twister for me. Every time I want to call her full name, I'm stuck.
It's Anuoluwapo.
Anuoluwapo.
Yes.
That the
mercy of God is
in abundance.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves her name so much.
It's a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful name. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
So the thing is, we had this cost in Nigeria. Food vendors and agri people, business people, are you people exaggerating this cost? Or truly, this is the reality that just bites her? Because for me, I feel like they never even sneeze more. The prices of the things will just skyrocket in the market, and they will just attribute it, the dollar, the this, the that. And I'm wondering, why is that so? And if probably maybe the dollar drops, we don't see the immediate impact like that. So what's the reality?
Okay, so thank you for having me, first off. While coming in here, the first thing I did was to take a look at the prices we sold our food items for in previous years. And maybe not in previous years. I'm talking about last year. Let's even take it 6 months back. And I saw that I am into the sales of yam. Unishu Yam Seller is into the sales of yam. I realized that when yams were off season last year, the highest cost of the yam for the big size yam was 3,000 naira. That's for large size yam. And I'm not just talking about any kind of yam. It's the Benue Ogoja. It's like the most expensive yam.
And sweet,
juicy yam. Exactly. So it went for 3,000 naira off season last year.
And off season is supposed to be the peak where the prices go high, right?
Prices go high, right. This year, same size is going for 10,000 to 11,000. Same yam, same size. So I actually needed to call
For
out the figures.
off-season too as
for
well?
off-season.
Okay.
So I'm making comparison right now with the seasons. I would have said one was going for 2,000, but that was actually when yams were in season. I'm talking about when yams were. When we talk to farmers, we get the old details. Let me talk about, like I said earlier, we're into yams. Let me talk about a local government in Benue State. That's the Otupo. Adoka is a village. Sometimes this year, that was specifically February, herders wrote to villagers not to farm on a particular portion of land. So what that translates to is that farmers would hold off whatever it is they want to do on that farm at that time, which of course reduces farming activities. It reduces the output. And you know this thing is, it's a game of demand and supply. When the demand remains high with very little supply, there is no way we're not going to have a price hike. It certainly would be. That's for Idoma. I mean, that's for Otupo. Let's take it now to the home of yam itself. That's in Zakibia. Bandits demanded from traders that for them to be able to transport seamlessly, they would have to cough out a certain amount of money. And now it's actually a significant amount, not just some 2,000, some loose change here. Traders had to, because business just has to continue. At the end of the day, all these things will translate into the product. Now, let's take that.
And all that cost is transferred to the customer.
To the customer, because it's business. So let's move away from that. That's for on the side of the farmer. Now, let's talk about the one that relates to us as traders. We're the ones on the road. So I want to talk about transportation. The cost of fuel is one thing. The transport incurred by all these transporters, that's in terms of spares, vehicle parts, and all of those things, it's another thing. Our deplorable roads is one other thing. And I'm going to give you an instance. When a truck leaves from Zakibiam, the truck is supposed to leave from Zakibiam, go to Boko, from Boko, get into Enugu, then maneuver down to Lagos. Because of the state of the roads, drivers have to move from Zakibiam and do like a backward journey to Nasarawa, Abuja. Sometimes they go through Niger, and then they start connecting, coming back.
Oh my God.
They spend longer time on the road, wasted expenses, and then, of course, the cost on the fuel as well. So at the end of the day, because it is business, everything lands back on the product.
My God. Uti. You know, say, in good way they talk. It's better to just have this expertise here. Uti, you they hear what I hear so?
Whereupon at this point, no, I say whereupon at this point, I should not ask a question. I should just let our guest. You know, when you have an expert speaking, you're like, what am I like? I'm listening to these things. I'm like, my goodness. If I'm hearing what you're saying, it sounds like it's a blessing that the yam is not arriving at the cost of 15,000 or 20,000.
Yes.
But I want to. There was a day that you had a live on Instagram. As it popped up, I was the first person that joined. Because I thought you were going to tell us discount was coming. I wanted to call the person that I shared yam with to say, please, it's like you will order. It's like, then I just heard, you are buy Benue now, because I need you people to explain to me whether I will do sharing for the, because I was looking at my screen that day as she was explaining how, please buy yam now because the price is about to go up. You know when you say you're crestfallen, I was crestfallen that day because I had not had yam in my house for a while. And I was waiting, thinking, I've caught it today. I'm going to buy yam. So hearing you talk about all of these things, I think that when we talk about it, we speak about it from a high level. But to hear how much is going on, we had a conversation the other day. Who and I were almost going to jump ourselves on the set on top, whether it's seedlings, it's farmers, it's insecurity. But to hear the reality of it, there's no doubt that we are already in a food crisis. I won't say we are heading for a food crisis, because if yam is now 300% of the cost it was last year, and yam is just one thing. There's so many other things. Somebody was saying, I was reading something on social media where the person said, I swapped to yam because yam was more affordable than bread at the time. When I wanted to, I had to return to bread because now bread was cheaper than yam. Like, that's what Nigerians are facing today. So for you as a business person, there is a point where you have to determine whether your business is still viable. I want to ask about the viability of that industry right now. Because everybody, to be fair, it's easy to think about the end consumer because we are all end consumers. But it's a very real industry that is at risk right now. The food sellers in the middle. Because I'm not going to go to Boko or that place you just called to go and buy yam. And me, I'm an expert shopper from the interlands of Nigeria. But even I, that was doing it myself because I enjoy bulk buying and I enjoy those things, I know how stressful it is. So how long does this business remain viable for you, commensurate to the efforts and the profits? Because I can't imagine that it's not affecting your sales right now.
At least, I think for the very first time, somebody is giving us some concern. It has always been the end users. For the first time, the middlemen are being put into consideration. I must actually say that except we have a very quick intervention, there just might be a drop fall. Because the truth is that as much as there is a whole lot of increase here and there, okay, let me give another example. A coach of yam, what I mean by a coach is, in a truck, you have like about 5 to 9 coaches. A coach would contain about 1,200 to 1,500 tubers of yam, depending on the size. Before now, you could use like 1.8 to get a full coach. Right now, you would have to have about 5 million to get that full coach, but of course not that quantity. Just 2 days ago, we got 300 tubers of yam. 300 tubers of yam for 2 million.
Eh?
Yes.
Wait, let me calculate it.
300 tubers of yam.
Wait, I have to calculate it. Keep going. I will find the number.
So, now the issue is this.
Wow.
If you are getting 300 tubers at the rate of 2 million, how much do you want to sell? And we're talking about perishable here.
I was just even coming to say that by the time that driver does that Zamfara, whatever that the person is going to, won't some of those what's it called, products, won't they have gone bad?
We lose considerable number. They are not insignificant. We lose considerable number. So maybe you get 1,400 tubers. Sometimes you lose like 300 wow. tubers, 200 tubers. And again, for our own kind of business, aside the losses that you make, obviously, when the customer now complains that I have lost a tuber, within a certain duration, we make replacement. Okay. So as a middle person, in fact, as a business, we're already saying we are closing down for this season, because it's just no longer viable. Profit-wise, we are practically sustaining. So it's not like we are it's no longer a profiteering business, so to speak. It's like we are in there to survive. We're just floating. So how long or short we would stay in the business is now dependent on the quick interventions that would come to us.
Okay, you know what? I like where we're going with this, because I took a few notes. And I want us, when we come back, we'll take a very short break. And when we come back, let's start to look at practical solutions in terms of these interventions that you're talking about. Yeah. We'll take a break. Yeah, we are coming back. Stay with us.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you're just tuned in, we're having a conversation around the reality of food costs in Nigeria. And we couldn't have had a better guest. Anuoluwapo Godfrey-Abu. She's with us, and she's an agribusiness practitioner. And please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also call us. Our phone line is open. If you wish to join in the conversation, it's 070-2500-7749. That's the number to call. Anu, herders told villagers, do not plant on a particular, and I can imagine that would be a large expanse of land.
Large expanse.
Bandits,
Their land.
the farmer's land.
The farmer's land.
So you have a land, and I will come and tell you that you dare not plant here.
Oh, yes.
That's one. Bandits tell traders, if you want to carry your goods in peace, pay a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For us to be able to look away and allow you move freely.
Yeah.
When you talk about intervention, what would intervention look like?
Okay. This is one intervention that is not what we can do anything about. This is what I will push off the strength of government. I understand that yes, government is trying to work on so many things, but see, desperate times call for desperate measures. This is the time when government should not just, especially for states, it should be every state, but right now for the food-producing states, especially if you want to tackle this food crisis issue, deploy security officials into these places, into the farmlands, interlands, not middle of the road. If you want to save food, then do all that you can. They are the ones. I don't have a security outfit. It is the government who can say, you go there. And not just go to the middle, because we actually see security officials middle of the road. Can they go into the farms and get this job really? I feel if this is done to a large extent, especially as it relates to the herders and the bandits, it would cushion some effect.
Some effect. Let me take a caller. I think someone has joined us. Thank you for calling. Oh, sorry, we lost the call. Ah, my God. Government. See, the thing about God, because you see, it is okay for us as consumers to say, waiting, Seth, the price is too much. They just announced that dollar went up today, and immediately people are increasing prices. We don't see these things. And that's why when Uti suggested that we needed to bring somebody in the agri-business that could explain, because some of these things we as end users, we can't understand what it is. We just feel like you guys are just taking advantage of the situation to just make the prices high. But look at what you've clearly explained. And these are the things that you remember even in December. I remember there was a story we took in December where farmers were saying that they said for them to come and harvest. It's not even just even planting. For them to come and harvest their crop. Your crop that you planted. It is time for harvest, for you to come and harvest it. They said you have to pay money. If you don't pay money, you cannot harvest it.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you look at the bottom line, if how much am I paying? How much am I selling? Now let's even talk about wastages, because all of these things that is happening, it doesn't stop the things from going bad.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Wow. It doesn't.
Let's take John, then I'll come back. Good evening, you're live. Oh, sorry, we lost it. I think they're having network issues. So tell me, right, how do we, because I'm trying so hard to avoid government in this conversation because I don't even know what to do, right? But it's difficult for us to avoid them.
It is.
It
is because if I should talk about storage, there's no way we would want to tackle food crisis whilst excluding government intervention. This is what I mean. During the time of harvest for yams, we usually have it in surplus. If, as a middle person, I get to store the yam, because the yams we are eating right now, they are stored yams. They are not newly harvested yams. So some persons took the risk to store. So let's assume that you as an individual, you store 5,000 tubers. You are not going to get the 5,000 tubers healthy by the time you're selling them into the market. Let's say you have 4,000 tubers. So what that means is that the loss of the 1,000 still has to come on the 4,000. So this is where we have the government. We need the government to come in. If we can have government barns.
Hey, hold that thought. Femi, you for me bad, Abi? Femi, you're live. Go ahead, please. Okay, finally.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to contribute to this government perceived inactivity towards this herders invasion. It seems the government is biased because the way they have even labeled the thing, there's no farmer-herders clashes. It is the herders that are invading farmers. How many times have you seen a farmer going around looking for herders to go and slaughter their cows? No, that's not what happens. It is an invasion. But the way that the government has labeled it, it shows that they are biased just to make sure that things look as if it is clash between two groups of people. No, it is not. And we are not surprised that they are not addressing it with the urgency that it requires. So it is easy to know which side, on whose side they are. I don't know who they are afraid of. I don't know what they are doing. So I will just stop there to allow other people to talk.
Thank you so much, Femi. Thank you so much. Because again, like he rightly said, the caption that we've given it, farmer herder clash. I'm wondering, when have you seen farmers leave their farmland to say they want to go and look for herders to fight them? It is only when they encroach their land, that is when you see maybe they kind of like a reprisal attack. But you were talking on bans, and I'll like Uti to come in. When you talk about bans, how is it possible? How is it possible for us to build those storages? How? Is it not when a government is really serious about things like that you will find it happen? For a country that we started off as an agro economy, right? Everything we were doing, everything we depended on was agriculture. All of a sudden, all these things just disappears. It's really sad.
It is.
Uti, let me come to you.
It is.
Uti, are you there? Okay, let me take Michael.
Can you hear me?
Uti, please hold your thoughts. Who's on the line, please? Maida. Go ahead.
Okay, I should go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, please. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mebasira.
Okay, Mebasira. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
You're welcome. Well, we have serious challenges in this country. And one of our greatest challenges is insecurity. And what the lady she's saying truly is not it's a stark reality. And our government has to focus on reality.
Oh, Mebasira. Oh, we're losing his thoughts. Thank you so much. Sorry, I would have loved to know where he's calling from because it sounds like he's in the core north. Yeah, go ahead. Uti, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, so I wanted to just on that aspect of processing and in actually now empowering farmers, because everything that we've spoken about really is things that the government can actually field. But I wanted to know, is this, when we say government, I think by now Nigerians are clear that the government is not going to be the solution, right? So how do we, I think for me now, I always look for real solutions, right? These are real sector problems. So in terms of perhaps, would it be corporates looking for investors? That question you asked about, what does it take to own a barn? So maybe today, right, Onishu Yamsela goes, maybe I won't sell yam anymore. Maybe I'll become the middleman's
A
middleman
storage.
or the seller's middleman.
You're right.
Let's discuss amongst
You're right.
ourselves.
You're right. You know, the other day I was on Instagram and I saw a lot of rich people. I said, how I wish these people could just invest in storage.
That's what I'm saying to you, Anuoluwapo. Tell us what it is. What's the call? We don't know who is watching. There might be a billionaire watching now. No, I'm being honest because you see, anything about government, I'm very wary. You understand? But if this is a real issue and if it is going to be a real business and income generator, somebody would take up that challenge to say, you know what, let me go and clear expanse of land and let me have these bands and let me store these things. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we say we want to keep on waiting for government, it go hard.
But you know why I mentioned government?
I know, it's the security part.
Yes, the security part one, and the fact that if an individual comes in, the individual still comes in for profiteering. So if I should say I want to leave sales.
So that still keeps the prices high.
It's still going to keep the price high.
I get you. Okay, let's take Ahmed. Ahmed, you're live.
I like this line of thoughts I'm hearing here. Let it not stop. You just said that you hope that we should speak because possibly a billionaire might be listening. It shouldn't stop on the TV station. You should go on social media.
Right.
You can imagine where we have taken Nigerian music to. Nigerian music is being listened to all over the world. It started from the likes of Kenny's music, Keke Ogungbe, and what's the other man's name?
D1.
D1, remember, far back 98, 99. They came back and they brought their experience from the US. A lot of people invested money in music. See where we've taken that music. Same us, Nigerians, don't believe anything for government. Where Nigerians, let us put our money with our mouths. Better we can develop this agriculture without government.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Well, this network today is tricky. Because I'm just looking at it, and that's what Uti was saying. I think we should find, but is the viability. But I get where your concern is, because guess what? What started off this conversation was the fact that we feel like you guys just want to cut our neck. The prices of things are going high, right? So you are saying, which I clearly understand, is the only way these prices can be kept at a very, very affordable level would be that it is not private sectors. So people that are not thinking profit. It has to be, but we can actually access impact funds. Funds that are not driven towards profit, but impact. Do you get what I'm saying? Because that's the only solution. Because we are looking at this thing. There's a real crisis happening. It's a looming crisis that I just keep wondering why people are not looking at it. But how we see that is bad. You are inside it. If you want to put a scale, how bad is this situation right now?
It is terribly bad. I just gave you figures at the beginning. If last year, first of season, if there's anything like that, we sold at 3,000. And this year we're selling, that is Onishu. That same tuber, some places you have them sold at 15,000. And you won't blame them. It's cost of logistics. 15,000, 16,000. It's quite unimaginable. One tuber of yam. So you want to buy a middle size, like a medium size kind of yam. You're spending like 7,000, 7,500. Now the next question you'll be asking me is, how many families can afford that? Because that one-size tuber cannot feed a family of 7 or 6 conveniently. So it's actually terribly bad.
Let's take some comments. Nigeria on record, the country with the largest post-harvest losses in agriculture. Wow. The solutions are clear, like I keep saying. It's the political will and sincerity of purpose lacking in Nigeria. These people ruling Nigeria know what to do to make Nigeria work if they really want to. Nigerians are not angry enough, really. That's from Nii Omole. He also said that this UAE noise is annoying. Refineries are not working in Nigeria. Cost of living, or is it the cost of staying alive? Crazy. Several issues facing Nigeria and Nigerians. The bigger question we are not asking is who is benefiting more from this UAE-Nigeria relationship. FS is scarce, isn't it? Same FX Nigeria will source to travel to UAE. Let's fix all the wahala in Nigeria and stop crying over not being able to go to another country where leaders have fixed. Nii, you dey para this evening, no? You have a lot of fans on YouTube, really learning. My sister representing well. I think these are all your people. And someone says, there cannot be a better guest. Somebody says most Nigerian investors are not ready for a Greek investment as they want returns sharp. Do you believe this?
Yes.
Why do you say so?
Agric business is actually more a long-term. It's more a long-term.
It's humanitarian work. I'm an agricultural person myself. It is. You know how they do NGO work.
Well,
you actually need very patient capital for that.
Very patient capital. You have to. Onishu, for instance, started 4 years ago, and I can count the number of capitals we have lost in the same business.
So why are you still in the business?
You know, when you just look at the business and you know this business has huge prospects. And one of the prospects is what I just mentioned, the barn, the storage. Long term, that's ultimately what I feel individuals with the capital should invest in. One, you will be saving a lot of lives. What I mean a lot, not in terms of money, a lot of lives. We do have post-harvest waste, lots of waste. Well, for yams, I wouldn't exactly say waste because those yams that end up rotting, you also have them, you can convert them into amala.
Yeah.
You can convert them into amala. So you can, it's the opportunities in this field is wide.
Because I was just going to say that with agriculture, there's really no waste.
There's really no waste.
Because you can always convert something to something that
really
eventually becomes something. There's really no waste.
Yes.
So imagine if you are investing in maybe dryers. Or so for the ones that are going bad, you start to dry them and convert them to elubo. That is also food for someone.
Yes.
Wow. Uti, final thoughts.
I mean, I don't think that I've had fun with a guest on the show.
I'm telling you.
Given that I'm on the other end. So, please let me be the first person to say that when this food journey is progressing, please, our guest, I know you'll come back. I like how I was seeing the future when she said new friend of the house.
She's a new friend of the house.
Thank you. I have learned so much, but thank you for giving us perspective and just enriching the conversation and the knowledge. Because I think when people particularly that are based in the South, based in Lagos, we really don't understand how bad it is out there. And food is very important to me personally. So well done. Keep up the great work.
Did you hear? No, wait. You see, I thank God we still have small time. When we talk reality, I beg. Okay. How would they feed our children? Because you know this matter now, in all honesty, you can't go and tell your child that. Like Uti's son is less than 10. He had three, what do you call it? 3 fingers of plantain. One person.
And with the cost of plantain.
Do you get my point? Do we start to tell our children that no, you cannot be eating like
in this life, in this Nigeria, you have to
you have to go on a diet. Oh my God. Onishu highlights about our government deploying security personnel into the farmland is crucial. One thing I've learned from this woman is that she is just determined to do what she's doing, not just for money any longer, because the business no be for faint-hearted at all. But then she keeps going. I mean, if you had one thing to say, or maybe a couple of things to say, right? Let me direct it. So first to your customers, next to your fellow traders, right? And then to the government. I think you've spoken a lot about the government. What kind of words of encouragement or whatever, what would you say to them?
To my customers, I actually made a song for them tonight. I'll be posting it tomorrow. I believe we're going to push through this season. I am just hopeful. I am hopeful. The reality is not funny, but I am just hopeful that we will get through it. Sometimes I receive some alerts. I want 164,000 naira. I say for yam. In my mind, I'm saying just for yam.
Even you, it's not dawning yet.
It doesn't make sense for yam. I can only be prayerful that God will continue to bless and just help us to go through the season.
So to the traders, then to the farmers.
To the traders, we need as much strength that we can get. I have stopped seeing traders as users because I'm now into it. We need a strength. Let's just keep pushing.
Do you
Let's
think
be
collaboration?
Fair.
Yeah.
Let's be fair where we can. I understand that the stress is much and many times we want to put it on the good, but let's just be fair when we can. That's one thing I would say to traders. And let's just keep pushing. Then to who else?
Farmers.
They are the ones. They are the ones really. I feel that if anybody has been in farming in Nigeria till now, it is now not. It's no longer because they are there for the big money. They are there because they want to put food on everybody's table. So I think for me, I would just appreciate them. Thank you for giving your best to this profession. Thank you.
Well said, well said. So good evening, my dear beautiful sisters, or what are you saying? The reality of food cost in Nigeria, this alone is a topic that we can discuss over and over again. My dear beautiful sister Anuoluwapo made mention of the price of yam skyrocketing from 3,000 to 10,000. This alone is ridiculous and highly unacceptable. If we do not buy our yams now, by December Christmas period, it may skyrocket to maybe 20,000 naira or more per tuber. I am not against prices of things going up, but it must be done decently, not massively. I really don't understand why dollars should affect the prices of things, because things do not go down in Nigeria, but go up. God will help us all. My dear beautiful sister Uwa, Sister Uti said that you are looking good and beautiful. I agree. Okay. Please do not allow Nigeria to happen to you, because you do not look like what you are going through. My name is Daniel Ilowe's regular fan. Thank you so much, Daniel. Then our our regular fan, Mrs. Adeniji from Aja, she says, good evening, my wonderful sisters. On the topic, the reality of food cost in Nigeria, with the above mentioned points with your guest, it is a fallacy to say food inflation is at 40.8%. It's a lie.
Na lie.
Tell them to go and relearn their mathematics for correct calculation. To me, it's more than 500%. I'm just consoling myself with this prayer. May God bless Almighty always, may the Almighty God always pave ways for me, whatever the hardship and the toughness might be. Abio, amen. To all of us, Mrs. It's not only you, Mrs. Mrs. Adeniji. Let God bless all of us. But hey, this is really an interesting conversation. Someone says, yam seller with Queen's English. You have a lot of fans, so Onishu, great job. From Pamilari. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, we were so excited when we buzzed you, because again, some people, when we buzz them on Instagram, but we were so happy that you honored our invitation. As I mentioned earlier, you are truly going to be a friend of the house, because anything we want to discuss now that is food matter, price matter, we just say, oh yeah, Onishu, come and help us break it down. I would say that, just in addition to what you've said, I really do want to say to every farmer out there, your work right now in Nigeria is a labor of love. because we know that the food crisis that is going to, it's not like it's not coming, it's coming. Just please, stay true and just be there, because we need you guys, to keep us alive. Let us not get to that point where we are eating ourselves, because that is where it is headed if it is not curbed. So we are hoping that the government listens. We are hoping that insecurity is curbed, because that is the major hindrance to this food availability. But thank you so much. Anuoluwapo.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Uti Elu, for doing this with me. Now, if you missed our quote for today, where is it? Prolonged inflation never stimulates the economy. On the contrary, it unbalances, disrupts, and misdirects production and employment, right? We'll see you guys. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, we are live Monday to Friday. We'll bring another great conversation to your screen.